This is bizarre, to say the least. There was a robot ethics panel at Berkeley, California, University of Berkeley. And Georgia Tech's Mobile Robot Lab director, Ron Arkin, had some interesting things to say about robot sex, really related to underage children. Childlike robots could be used for pedophiles the way methadone is used to treat drug addicts. There are no presumptions that this will assuredly yield positive results. I only believe this is worth investigating. So basically, they were doing a whole conference on the ethics of robots and will robots turn on us and what are our responsibilities to the robot community one day, and then this topic happened to come up. So it wasn't all about this, but it does bring up some interesting ethical things.
As the researcher mentioned in that quote, they haven't done any research on this yet. It's something that he wants to investigate. And it's a really uncomfortable topic to discuss because even though it's a robot, the fact that it looks childlike gives you this visceral reaction. However, I do think that it's something worth investigating because people who are pedophiles have this obsession with
compulsion.
It's a compulsion. And so if there's something therapeutic that can alleviate those urges, then I'm in favor of it. You just need to research it. However, you should also keep in mind that it could backfire. So when I first read about this, I thought, well, could it possibly motivate them or encourage them to go out and seek children if they're having sexual activity with childlike sex robots? That could be a result of this type of research. But again, you got to go into it and do some sort of research to see if there are ramifications, if there's a possible positive outcome, and see how it goes. I mean, you can't just be scared of a topic and then avoid it.
Right. So, we've done a lot of stories on this kind of thing, and it always shows that pedophiles have an incredibly high rate of recidivism. So, if this could be used in a way such as methadone, then perhaps there's some sensibility here. But let's remove the robot part for a second. Let's say it was just dolls. So let's just pick like a sort of life-size doll. Like even that, it's just hard. I guess it's because it's sort of viscerally hard to, if you try to picture it, it's so disgusting that it's hard to sort of wrap yourself around, right?
Yeah, it's a difficult topic to explore, and it's hard to have an objective look at it, right? But you have to be objective. You have to think about the sake of research, the sake of actually helping these people that have this compulsive urge to do something that is obviously illegal with children. And so I'm always in favor of exploring these things, regardless of how uncomfortable it makes me feel.
Right. There's something again then when you take it to the robot part that then seems doubly weird, I suppose, because if it's just a doll, there's no physical movement or anything. But then your idea that you're putting a robot, there's an implication that it's moving, it's responding. Like then it almost seems like you're sort of aiding the compulsion.
I think we're headed toward a point where these so-called sex robots are going to be so human-like that maybe it does solve the problem of pedophilia. I mean, I wouldn't put it past our technological abilities and our technological advances. I think that it's definitely a possibility. And so, again, it makes me uncomfortable, but it's definitely a better option than doing absolutely nothing about it and not researching it and just kind of letting this problem persist.
There's something that seems particularly creepy about this, of course. And we've talked a lot about, on Rubin Report, we've talked a lot about robot sex, because it's coming, no pun intended. It's on its way. And I have no problem with it. I think that's just the next thing. Technology is always used for sex, and often sex leads technology, which is why VHS beat the beta. Because of porn. That's the route that they went. And online video, there's a lot of porn. But this is a different ball of wax.
So if we're having a general discussion about sex robots, I mean, we've had the discussion on the show, and I think that there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, we're already having sex with robots. They're just in the form of vibrators and fleshlights or whatever. Fleshlights aren't really robots.
Can you get a robotic fleshlight?
It probably exists. I feel like there's everything out there.
You know what? I'll reveal a little something here. So I worked at this company for a while that gave me a fleshlight. They gave me one. Do we have to explain what it is?
Did you try it?
I'll tell you what happened. I almost spent my life savings on Gatorade because that thing will suck the life out of you. No pun. I literally it's that good. And like a week later, I was like, I lost like 10 pounds.
Did you just admit to using the fleshlight?
I've used the fleshlight.
Excessively too.
Like it was a hell of a week.
Do you, boo?
It was a hell, but literally, I'm not kidding. So like I used it. It was my old single days. Used it. And then a week later, I was like, I got to get rid of this thing. Like this is no good. There's no good coming out of this thing. There's only going in.
I was gonna make that
Bada bing.
joke and I stopped myself.